Oh.
We're good. Permits are issued.
Are you kidding me?
Permits were issued.
We'll call the public meeting back to order, and for the good of the group, the executive session was necessary due to the fact that we're talking about potential litigation. All right, moving forward, zoning is good.
I think it,
Yeah, I'll let you speak because we did a little awkwardly. I'm sorry, state your name.
Sorry, Leslie Turner,
Thank you.
1400 Dawson Avenue. I did sign in. Lisa, unfortunately, is spiraling. That was the ARL's quote.
Spiraling in what way?
Well, she started where the guy who runs the police station, she got into an altercation with him where she told him that we had mutilated her cats. A couple days later, we start seeing cats that we've never seen before. So, okay, what's this going on? And right at the same time as the rabid cat was discovered in the home. And then she shows the neighbor who lives 1409 Dawson, look at my new kitten. What? So she's got kittens, and now she knows the ARL, Borough, everybody paid her visit. She knows she's being watched. And this is what happened last time. She opens the window, opens the door, all the cats are kicked out, and now they're in the neighborhood. They're showing up at the feeding station. They weren't until this weekend. So I have pictures of cat we've never seen before. We have at least 3 that are. The only way these new cats would have been accepted to the colony is if stuff has been collectively. But otherwise, the colony would repel the new members. So whatever we need to do, we're going to start tracking them again. We cannot add. I just want to get this clear. We cannot add. It costs us almost $3,000 a year to feed the cats that we have. We cannot add any more cats. And the ARL will TDNR them. They told me, but they would bring them back to us. We cannot take responsibility for any more cats. I don't even know how much longer I'm going to be living. So I need a 10-year commitment in 2023 to help feed these cats with my neighbor. Life expectancy of feral cats, 8 to 10 years. We will not, if the last cat passes away, we will stop. We are not adding any more cats. Why are you feeding them? That's part of the TNR.
she's a feral cat caregiver.
That is, so, but even after they've been fixed and otherwise they decimate birds and make. Oh yeah. The other thing I need you to know is I'm a target in this project. There, as you know, as elected officials, there is no way to handle anything where everybody's happy. So I've got people who want to kill the cats, right up to people who want to run Lisa out of her home. So I'm trying to balance and talk sense into 12 very different opinionated people. You cannot. I've done hours and hours and hours of research, work with vets who specialize in this, talk to people who've been doing TNR for 20 years, sanctuaries, everybody. I've talked hours. It's a full-time job doing this. And I cannot compete with a lawyer on my street who did a 5-minute Google search. It's the climate that we're living in. Everybody has these extreme opinions, and you cannot talk sense into them. So I need help. Jerry needs help. He's working today.
What can we do to help?
What's the verbiage from Taylor's office last time?
So nothing we did before is going to come into play now, other than Leslie notified me the court did find her guilty and she was required to pay restitution to Leslie and some of the neighbors. It sounds like she's not making those payments. We have nothing to do with that. That needs to go through Taylor's office. Chris and I talked last week. One of my requests is for the borough to potentially file an injunction against her so that she is not allowed to own cats, period. Kittens, cats, singular, plural. We have documented track history going back over a decade of this being a repeat problem. I know Chris's office also searched and was unable to find any type of guardian for her. So I mean, that was kind of my question. If there's no court appointed guardian, we're effectively at a loss. I mean, clearly from the conversation last week with her, there are definitely some mental health issues going on there. But at what point we're able to find her in a position that she needs a court-appointed guardian, that's out of my realm of expertise.
Well, she needs, yeah, plenary guardian, but to this, just be a GAL. I don't think you have to get a.
No, no. I wouldn't even say she's necessarily done anything to indicate she's considered a threat to others. Um, it's more just statements that she's making in terms of, that our ordinance regarding DVNRing and feral cat giving and the number of animals you can keep, we're mutilating for cats. Same thing that she said to Leslie and others.
What was the reason that after she allowed it, you guys go in and inspect the house?
Which took place 10 days ago.
And then she changed her mind. What happened that she wanted everybody out?
I mean, that's happened every time I've been out there, so that doesn't surprise me. She's initially fine, and then when she realizes why you're there, she gets combative's too strong of a word, but like, okay, that's enough, get out.
We really like to stand on from the health standpoint. She is by breeding, by letting these cats fester and multiply. It's a health risk to the neighborhood.
I mean, it's going back to a violation of Chapter 2, which is what she's been found guilty of before, but I mean, even citations and restitution, thousands of dollars, it's not stopping her. I mean, she paid some of it. I mean, when we get to the point of filing the new citations, you would be subpoenaed. That would be the protocol. Yes. Yes. I kind of hit the same.
Yeah. So they must be following it then. The lawsuit's long. Understand how, what a public health risk is. So if she introduces enough cats to our community that outnumber, right now they're providing her and me for rabies in our neighborhood. But if she outnumbers, her cats would, in the past, have always adequately outnumbered, whatever you see in the beginning. It's everything we did 2 years ago is going to be coming. So that's quadruple in 8 weeks.
We are. We already did. No. No.
Office of Aging is no help. You call them and they say, oh, I have a file a mile thick on her. We know all about her. Well, then why are you letting her do this? It's like they don't want to deal with her. And I feel like they're negligent because they know her history. And Lily, she does, my understanding is she suffers from a mental illness that is exacerbated by toxoplasmosis, which is a very common bacterial fungal in feral cats, especially, but even domestic cats have it. If you have an overabundance of cats in your home, that bacteria is there, it exacerbates your mental health very indicative that it's spiraling mental illness.
Nothing. We are the only ones who really have a feral cat caregiver ordinance since we adopted that last year. I've had 2 people voluntarily sign up. There's 2 feral cat communities, one in Wyomissing Hills, one in Greenwood Mall. Submitted all the paperwork and everything they're required to do. Where I live, there's a feral cat problem. I know from the webinar I took place that the ARL gave last year with CELG. It's happening all over the county, and I think most municipalities are just turning a blind eye to it, saying it's somebody else's problem, we don't want to deal with it, because our hands are a little bit tied. I mean, we can't even go into somebody's house without a search warrant if they don't voluntarily let us in to document. So we were fortunate she let us in to a point that we could document 2 weeks ago. And on top of that, besides going through the court system for fines, we can't have people arrested. I mean, we can't physically take the cats. They're considered property. I think we already are, but we'll continue to do so. I can certainly speak to Senator Schwenk's office about it. I actually have a call with one of her aides tomorrow about an unrelated subject. But I mean, if anything, I see that potentially being another unfunded mandate coming down from the state of you must do this, but we're going to give you no direction or money to do so. We need to be really careful not handling public comment the way we normally do.
We understand your frustration.
Have a shade. Yeah, take the number. Take the number.
Somebody who doesn't know that they're property just
Yeah, but where are they
All right,
going?
thank you.
They're not, see, like, even the ARL won't take them though, because they have that burn program, and they're like, no, they're past that point.
All right, let's move on to the zoning board report.
So along those lines, I don't need to give an update on that one anymore. There was a property on here that was asked about at last month's meeting, which is 524 Douglas Street. I thought Jeff was going to update the report.
He didn't update me on, other than he's meeting with Michelle this afternoon on that.
Yeah, so there was an agreement that we reached with the owner's attorney to allow for cleanup of the property within a specified time frame that had not expired but by the last meeting, but I believe it's expired now. So my guess is he's meeting with Michelle to talk through where are we at. Yes.
Yes. I apologize, I left my notes on the desk as I left today, but I do remember that's the one meeting she was talking about as she was leaving. He's meeting with her this afternoon. 524 Douglas.
The other update I have is regarding the Crown Plaza, Sheridan, Radisson, whatever you want to call it, 1741 Paper Mill Road. As of last week, all of the fire code violations were remediated. There is 7/365 coverage. It's not 24/7, but there's on-site security, exterior and interior from 5 p.m. until 5 a.m. PD and fire are aware of that. It sounds like the intent is to apply for building permits in the next 2 to 4 months to renovate, to bring it back online as a hotel. I'm waiting to hear this week from Steve Simons as to whether or not he's going to attend next week's Economic Development Committee meeting to present renderings and the long-term plan on behalf of ownership, but cautiously optimistic. It's headed in the direction we've wanted it to go for 4 years.
So potentially, we're not gonna see anything for 2 to 4 months.
Correct.
There's nothing going on there now.
ATF was in to fix the fire alarm system. They got all the material that was being stored in the banquet space out. I think that was finished last week. Landscaping company has been contracted to, as Steve said, give it a haircut, but more than the haircut, the borough was giving it. So they're actually going to go in and like tree, shrubbery, take care of all of those things. I know there's some window and roof repairs they need to make before they start mold remediation. There's HVAC units to the tune of like $500,000 that have to be repaired. So there's other things they have to do before they can even get into the renovation building permit. So things are going on, but that big picture project is 2 to 4 months down the road. That's all I got, unless anybody has any questions.
Regency is like an abandoned property, cutting the grass there. Like, is there anything we're doing about that abandoned or just?
We don't have a vacant registration. Eventually, it will go to either foreclosure or tax sale.
Okay. And my other question was Regency, that property that's abandoned, we're cutting the grass. The other one was Franklin.
It's happened before.
Oh, how, this Franklin thing's been going on for over a year, and it's an above ground pool, how has it not been, like, addressed in terms of either a permit or, oh, a permit was denied, so now they're just still sitting upon it, well, permit was denied back in December, but they still have a pool as of March, and then we haven't had any updates until just last week.
I mean, so citations have been filed. We can't physically go on somebody's property and take the pool down. So our only recourse is to file citations for the violation.
No response to any citations, so do the fees keep increasing?
They issue a warrant.
Yeah, just, and it wasn't addressed for like 5 months, we didn't really go there since, at least it wasn't paid for. That was my only other.
The property on Regency
Yeah,
is owned by the same gentleman as 1198 Reading Boulevard, which is up for tax sale
In September.
12 through 14. I saw that in the paper last week. Our favorite address, 1743.
Reading Boulevard.
They've taken the cover off the couch that's been sitting in the driveway for the past couple of weeks, and now the couch is
Can
leaning
you
up
let Jeff know?
lengthwise against the garage.
Can you let Jeff know? To take a look at it. 1743 Reading.
So we do well.
Maybe it's got Scotch Guard on it. Think positive.
So the only other thing, just update Bell Tower, they did get their burnings in, their permit applications and their permits were issued. That's all.
It's Christmas in July, Joe. No pun intended.
Yeah, progress. All right, good. Fortunately, pump station, I know there's some stuff to do.
There's a lot of moving parts here. You're all aware that we had the flood issue 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. It's kind of changing some of our thoughts where we have collected $175,000 to do some upgrade work. But now that this flooding has happened twice, and it's happened 5 or 6 times, but twice where it's been kind of catastrophic in the last 2 to 3 years. Talking with Jim and Nick, I'd like to really move that pump station up the hill and out of that floodplain so it doesn't happen again. Each time it happens, I'm going to say we don't have the invoices in yet from most of those repairs. I'm gonna guess it was 60 grand plus or minus. Insurance may not cover it.
I thought when you gave me the tour, there are laterals up there that are in the way.
They're going up the alley. The first lateral's probably 50 feet, 75 feet up. We'd have to take that into consideration. And have to talk to the homeowner because even during this event, it would have backed up and flooded his basement, but I've never gotten a phone call from him. So something is not totally understood there. But in the end, I think we'd like to work towards putting 175,000 plus budgeted money next year to move the pump station. We don't have any cost estimate yet. Jim's office is working on it. No. Well, it has mostly to do with the apartment complexes, but nothing is started there.
They haven't even recorded their land development plans yet.
If the flood damage is covered by insurance, sooner or later they're gonna say, you know what? You know, remedy the situation.
The only downfall is here, Fourth and Ole, other than the flooding, is a good pump station, still has more capacity in it. It's Wynwood that is up against the wall as far as capacity. And this would kind of delay Wynwood a year or so.
But nothing else is going into Wynwood, right?
Right.
Where
But
would you move the pump station?
up towards the garage a little more and put submersible pumps in. Right now in that pump station, there's motors, pumps, and electronic controls. If we move it, we'll put submersible pumps in there. So there won't be any, there's no motors involved in the building, and move the building to a higher elevation and probably put it on a concrete riser, if you will.
That's the pump station. Jim just wanted this to show that they're gonna move the pump station up here. We wanted it for reference. We don't have a Tron or anything.
It would be, if you pull in where the pump station building sits now, it would be just upstream from that.
Upstream.
The upper right-hand corner is the pump station. And we can put it somewhere up this way, 100 feet, and probably elevated on some sort of riser.
But Jim's gonna need some time to get us a cost estimate of what that
So
would cost.
basically you're separating pumps from.
The wet well will remain there, the wet well will have pumps in it, and if it gets flooded with the pumps in it, it doesn't matter, they're under sewage all the time anyway. But moving anything that can be damaged, controls mostly, would be getting it out of that flood area. Possibility. So no action needs to be needed or done today, but hopefully in the next month or so, we'll have some numbers.
We need action on this.
No, so that was the temporary, more the Band-Aid fix for Fourth and Ole. So now that we've kind of changed, yeah.
Table that. Alright, so I'll make a recommendation, we table authorizing and value or proceed with the work, maximum $12,000. Motion to session to table. Any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Western Berks Water Authority.
No news from the plants. Chip says that they've received new drawings for the State Hill Road project. I'm not sure if they're the same ones that were presented last month. But he did ask that when you get any updated information about construction timing, to let him know. And I won't be here next month because of the concert.
Sanitary sewer, started some pay applications, anything else new?
We're having a pre-construction meeting for the West Lawn Interceptor tomorrow. So I would assume work will start sometime in September.
Where will that be in the area of again?
That is going to start at Cambridge Avenue, head through the Cambridge Commons apartment complex, past the pool, and it ends near the Stone Old Mill parking lot.
And we have some pay application number two for specialty services received $74,137.50. I assume that's a budgeted number, so.
Correct.
Said application, we have a motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor? Any opposed? The ayes have it. That's on the council. Streets,
Some of the work actually started last week. The microsurfacing portion on crossing Parkside Drive South and a piece of North Wyomissing Boulevard is done. And they're going to start some concrete work, handicap ramps mostly, next week or two.
remind me, did we ever get a quote on what it would cost to retake Flowers Lane? I'm not interested in paying for it, just what it would cost if the people that we brought in could do it.
No, I don't think we ever pursued that. I could give you a rough number based on. That would
It'd be
need,
a good
that's,
idea, 'cause
that,
they're talking about doing it, and they might as well do it the right way, and
yeah, because that road, I don't know what it looks like underneath, but it would probably need to be recycled or something as opposed to just fixing bad spots in the
I
road.
agree.
Yes.
Compliment whoever the contractor was that we did the streets around the pool and construction. Behind the hockey field and across the pool.
It was Wexcon's project.
Oh, the patches, yes.
And that's the road improvements.
No update since the last meeting, other than I finally got the documents that they presented at that meeting last week, so.
50/50 sidewalk bids are in.
Yeah, there's some discussion here. The low bidder was $130,000 change, I forget the exact number. We had budgeted 100,000 for this year's 50/50, plus 25,000 because last year's project, as you know, ran into December, January. So we had some payment applications that came in 2025 from 2024. In addition, the response this year was crazy. 2024, the bid in square footage was 2,465 square feet. This year, 5,157. So double the amount, the quantity of sidewalk that people applied to get replaced. So the bids came in at 130, which will put us over budget by $57,000. Now, we do get reimbursed half of
50.
that, not half, but most, I would say half, depending on the size. It's because it's up to $1,000. But it's really due to just having a great response to the program.
Took 5 years for the word to get out.
Yes, to do so.
So we're talking about a net budget problem of 50% or $57,000.
If I recall, the ordinance says not to exceed 100,000.
We didn't do this by ordinance, this is just our own program.
Okay, so that was never in an ordinance.
The ordinance only spells out what's considered, like what the specification is and what's considered a violation. The 50/50 program isn't adopted by ordinance, it's just a program.
Okay. Look, I'm not in favor of going over budget, but we want these sidewalks done, so.
One other thing I failed to mention too is, so we got the bids and then the people who apply get a letter from us. They just got them in the last few days. It says, this is what it's going to cost the borough. This is what it's going to cost you. You still want in. And some may bail out because it's too much expense for them to bite off. So that number may come down. People say, no, I don't want to do it.
Covering, 50% cost of $2,000 for the squares that are specifically affected by trees?
Correct. We do have people who apply who just have old sidewalk and I say no.
And there are people out there who have tree issues on some of their sidewalks and prefer to get the rest of the sidewalk done, but if that maxes out anyway, it doesn't matter if it's ultimately good.
I just want to make sure they aren't, yeah, 50% towards that.
It's not maximum thousand per year, is it? It's just maximum thousand per property.
For the property for that year. Yeah. For that year.
So they could,
They could do it again next year. Yeah, I've never stopped anybody. But if we want to proceed, I guess we should accept the bid award,
So, you know, yeah, I think
which isn't on the agenda.
we're gonna be over budget
Oh, it
at
is?
some level, but we are putting on people.
Oh, just not the number.
Sidewalks done.
I'll make the motion, go ahead.
Well, this is the left shoulder. Devil in the angel, right? That's the right thing to do. Yeah.
I think maybe next year we
Common sense
should
always
consider dropping our 50/50 on to, it's like 59,000.
I don't know. I think ultimately it's good for the borough.
Yeah,
I think it's fundamentally fair. It's borough.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a motion to accept the lowest bidder, which I believe was Farino. We have a motion, we have a second to the motion. Motion second. Any questions? All those in favor of accepting Farino's bid? Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it, we'll proceed. See many people drop out. Okay. Dolphin Avenue discussion, anything new there?
Nothing new.
Good. State Highway Winter Maintenance Agreement.
We have an agreement with PennDOT to basically plow and salt state roads in the borough, Penn Avenue, Paper Mill, Park. And this is just re-upping that maintenance agreement.
That's the same thing every year, exactly every 5 years.
Every 5 years, I think it's generally on the same. Yeah.
So then, when you look at the per mile reimbursement, ours is at the lowest, as is Lancaster. But even when you get up to Schuylkill, Northampton, and Lehigh, theirs isn't any more than ours. It just doesn't even make sense to me. They get more snow than we do.
PennDOT doesn't care.
Yeah, I don't think if it doesn't snow, we still get that dollar amount. It doesn't matter how much snow you have. No, it's just an
They
annual.
pay you this flat rate every
It's a
year?
flat rate.
We have a motion to approve. Second. Okay, we have a motion and second for the 5-year contract deal with State Road and PennDOT. Any other questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Anything new on water?
No, we'll be getting a final payment application probably for next meeting, but nothing else. Nothing else.
Nothing new in the ad in our police department, that needs study?
Sadly, no.
Stonehouse project.
Waiting to clean up a couple of punch list items and get a final pay application.
Berkshire Heights Playground. Nothing new there.
It's starting next week.
Picking colors.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Okay, Parkland study.
Besides the new section of trail that was installed by the Parks Department probably 3 weeks ago at this point, Greg and I have been working with Larry Lloyd and the Rotary. We're tentatively planning the first planting day for October 11th, which is a Saturday, which would be Rotary volunteers. Trees have been ordered for that fall planting date. Working on signage. I didn't think to put it on my flash drive, but Clancy and Mike, our two mechanics, did an amazing job of fabricating some kind of example signs that the Park and Shade Commission can talk about at their meeting in September. Things are moving forward. We did not, speaking of, we did not get the giant Healing the Planet
Oh,
grant.
we did?
No, it was primarily focused on Chester County, and I was told not to be surprised because we got it last year that we didn't get it this year. But that was only $4,000, and fortunately, we have plenty of other money.
Yep. All right, moving on to the Wyomissing Professional Center, had their pre-construction meeting go.
Good. They're starting that in the next couple weeks also. Yeah. This will help with our MS4 obligation. No, it's the top of Hocking Creek, so it's borough only. Nothing new there.
Railroad culvert.
We can not talk about this. In the days after the last flood event, Jim and I looked at enlarging the pipe that goes under the railroad so it won't flood anymore, but we've come to realize it's better to move the pump station than screw with the railroad, which can get pretty dicey. Table.
Deny or table?
Table.
Okay, so I'll make a recommendation to table authorizing the board to repair the culvert listed in that. I'll second that. Second, any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, PennDOT MTF grant.
You may recall, if I stretch your memory, that back in 2019, we were awarded $633,700 and change through the PennDOT MTF program for forestry that we received after we realized we were fully funded through DCED. So in 2020, I worked with our grant writer and a lobbyist to go back to PennDOT and say, hey, we really appreciate the money, but we don't need it for this project, so we want to flip it to the pedestrian bridge and the Cambridge Culvert projects. All fine and dandy, except those projects are now done, and we are still sitting on approximately $300,000 that I don't want to see go to waste. So when we had gone back to PennDOT in 2020 requesting to flip the money to the Ped Bridge and the culvert, it was once again with the expectation that those two projects would fully exhaust the 633, which fortunately, unfortunately, did not happen. So there were two other projects included that one was Wayne Avenue. The cost back in 2020 was about $30,000. Let's just safely say we could double it to probably 60. The other was Berkshire Boulevard, which was well over 400,000. So that one's off the table. I am working with Econ, which is our grant writer, to submit a letter to PennDOT requesting that Wayne Avenue now be brought back on the table. We don't know how PennDOT is going to react to additional projects that were never brought up 5 years ago being brought up now, but I'm a believer in the worst they can say is no if we ask. So I wanted to discuss, do we have a preference? I think I brought this up at the last meeting and somebody indicated there's a flooding issue on Wyoming Avenue with the water. So that's one thing we could consider. Jim McCarthy mentioned Woodland Plaza Apartments, which I don't really know what's going on there before apparently relining a storm pipe.
There's a storm pipe through the Woodland Plaza Apartments that, just like the mall, has no floor. It's a bad pipe. It's just never caused any problems, and it's a public pipe, and to reline that, I think that would be a good use.
It's the handicap ramps.
That's a misnomer. It's Forest and Cleveland. It's not Wyoming.
mean, with the money left over, we may be able to do all three. I don't have cost estimates for anything besides Wayne. So next steps would be,
Relining apartments with 108.
perfect. I have my biweekly call with our grant writer and lobbyist this Thursday, so I will share with them the cost estimate for the relining is 108. Even if we spend, even if the project cost for Wayne Avenue is doubled to 60,000, we're still only at half of what we have left. So it would really be putting a cost estimate and narrative together for Forest and Cleveland.
July 9th.
Oh,
A little over a month.
recent.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're not that, another 40% of it.
So stay tuned. Hope PennDOT looks in our favor.
Borough facilities update, besides the application. Where are they located?
The garage.
Out of the current flood zone.
There's a big
Full
enough fence around that
range.
thing, right? There's a big enough fence around that thing. I just drove by the other day. I noticed it. Anybody else see it? Yes. All right. The application is Spatco Energy Solutions. In the amount of $109,508.50 for the purchase of two 2,000-gallon fuel tanks. I'll make a recommendation to send the council to approve. Motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Greg, to circle back to Steve's question, are the new tanks going to be like the current tanks that they're padlocked? Yeah, so right now you can pull up to that pump, but unless you have the key to get the padlock off, you're not actually getting the pump off the pump, like the dispenser off the pump. So same thing on the new system.
Since we're talking about borough facilities, we have big design work, or did our 50-year-old storm just overtake a brand new lunchroom?
At the garage. I'm gonna say it's the storm. It rained for 40 an hour.
20, 30 minutes.
Yeah,
We did.
more than a foot here. We had probably 4 to 5 feet in the front yard here. It took the same, I'm pretty sure it took the same path as the hailstorm. It came up State Hill Road and it hooked the left down Penn Avenue and just went towards West Routing.
Anything else for borough facilities?
Got it in the front door into an air conditioner.
Infrastructure?
Say a motion to